What the heck am I gonna read this year? Bookman, you have new drip. This is amazing. Are you just gonna stand here ogling yourself, or are you gonna show me some books? Yeah, okay, so new year, new luck, new books. As always, I'm here to bring you your book of the month monthly subscription book box. Still a beautiful curated 5 to 7 picks, themselves curated from a list of whole new releases. Thank you. First up, The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. This one I picked for you because magical realism. It is an epic family saga and it's also loosely inspired by the author's own grandfather. This looks so good. Thank you so much. And finally, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I know you have not read the first book in this duology, but I also know that you like Rebecca Ross. Magic, rivals to lovers, academic rivals to lovers. You 1000% made the right choice. If you guys are interested, we've broken the fourth wall now. Book of the month ships right to your doorstep. If you aren't interested in some of the picks of the month, you can absolutely just hop off the subscription and then hop back on when you are interested in the monthly picks. And you can use the code Emmy to get your first book for $5. I will be on my way. It is absolutely freezing rain out there, so good luck out there. Hello, welcome to a very cold January night. Snow is gonna come tomorrow. Apparently, we're gonna get hit with so much snow tomorrow. I'm so excited. I've received a lot of new books recently. It's a new year, but I want to make sure that I talk about all the books that I read in 2023, so I'm here to bring you my December wrap up. If you are new here, hi. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm in a slightly different location for a little bit. I'm staying at my parents' house, apparently over the holidays and beyond. My name is Emma. I have my little cat Calcifer in the corner, currently cleaning his paws. I thought I would run you down everything I read in December. It's not a lot by any means. I did not really read a ton in December. I thought I would talk about the last 2 books that I read for the Game of Tomes book club for 2023. We're of course extending it into 2024. We read Twelfth Night by Shakespeare and Eugene Onegin by Pushkin. Twelfth Night was a reread for me, and I guess I'll just start with this one, although there will be a video coming very soon on Carolyn's channel where we talk about both of these together. But Twelfth Night, I first read it in my first year of high school and I did not like it. I hated it. Shakespeare was just not for me back then. I kind of really dreaded it. But Twelfth Night is honestly probably still, after my reread, one of my least favorite Shakespeare plays of all time. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry to the lovers of Twelfth Night out there. It just did not wow me. I didn't really get into the play at all. I didn't think it was really terribly funny. It is a comedy. It's also about the festivities and the shenanigans of the 12 Nights of Christmas, so it is actually a Christmas play. I just didn't like it, man. I can't even really specifically tell you why. I just really don't think it's as strong of a play as so many other plays of Shakespeare I've read this year. I took an exclusively Shakespeare course at uni this year, and Twelfth Night is just so not the one for me, unfortunately. So if you don't know what Twelfth Night is about, we have a brother and sister. They get into a shipwreck and they're both apparently lost at sea, or at least both of them think that their sibling is, although they both survived. So we have Violet, who is one pair of the brother-sister duo, and she arrives in this new land and she's like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do here? I'm a woman with no court, no money, no nothing. It's not really safe for me to do anything, so I'm gonna lie low and I'm gonna disguise myself as a man and I'm gonna go work in Duke Orsino's. He's a very powerful rich man. Duke Orsino is in love with this other noblewoman called Olivia. Olivia doesn't care about Orsino. She could really care less. He's just kind of really full of it and keeps trying to persuade her to love him and marry him. Things change when Violet, disguised... Oh my god. Would you like to make more noise? Do you want to share your insights on Twelfth Night? Didn't you read this actually? In high school? Don't you remember reading Twelfth Night?
What's it about?
Remember the Duke Orsino and the disguises and the shipwreck?
The what?
You didn't read Twelfth Night?
No, I think we did.
You totally did.
I can't remember what it's about. Isn't it about 2 siblings that like go on an adventure?
No, they get shipwrecked and then
They get
she
shipwrecked?
disguises herself as a man. It's just she's the man.
I think it was grade 10 English.
Okay, for me it was grade 9.
Grade 9 English? Oh, yeah. Oh, it was with that teacher neither of us like. Yeah, yeah, that was a bad teacher. She flipped out and left halfway through the year.
She loved me.
Did she? She hated me. All the English teachers that knew Emma also thought I was going to be The perfect little English student. Little did they know. Little did they know.
Yeah, so there's another little mini review. Apparently neither of us were very impressed with it, and Carolyn wasn't either, and I haven't really heard anyone from the book club say any glowing things about it. I won't say too much about all of my thoughts about either of these because, like I said, they'll be in that video with Carolyn. But then the other book that I just finished, I think this was my last read of 2023 actually, was Eugene Onegin by Pushkin, which I liked so much better. This was my first Pushkin, and this is also a poem. Kelsifer? Okay, look at this guy. Come on. Are you gonna do the book reviews now?
Yeah, I might as well participate. He hates me. Have you shown off any of the workings of art that I've done in here yet?
I have. Okay. This video is getting absolutely taken over.
So what's our next book here? What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Next book is this one. I'll just stand behind you. Like
Penguin Classics. Alexander Pushkin. Eugene Onegin. Tried at the glitter and glamour of St. Petersburg society, aristocratic dandy Eugene Onegin, as the poet welcomes this urban addition to his small social circle and is happy to introduce Onegin to his fiancée Olga, but her family. So what is?
Okay. Well, what do you mean? What is it about? You just read the synopsis.
I think this is a love story gone wrong. Really, I just want to know. Like, I only want to read it because I just want to know why he rejects her love. And what the tragedy, like, does she just go crazy and kill everybody? I feel as though if I was drinking every night and single, this would really just slap me in the face with joy. In the sock basket?
Someone's trying to break into the pantry.
Somebody's trying to steal food?
Yeah. Oh, actually, you can feed him dinner if you want. He'll love you forever. We've been hijacked. I mean, you heard all you needed to hear about Eugene Onegin from my brother. I actually quite like this. I gave this 4 stars. Not a new favorite, but I did really appreciate it, although it did take me a while to get into. So if you weren't really understanding what Dear Benjamin was trying to say, this is about Eugene. Evgeny, actually, is his name. And he is a dandy. He's very reminiscent of Vronsky from Anna Karenina. I think Tolstoy was actually inspired a lot by Pushkin. And he's kind of just a dandy. He's going around. He's just kind of so arrogant, so above everyone, so superior, so bored. Like, he's just so bored and indifferent to life and to society and to St. Petersburg. So when he inherits a bunch of property from his uncle in the countryside, he takes himself over there and he makes a new friend in the poet, Vladimir Lenski. Like Ben said, he also meets Lenski's fiance's sister, Tatiana, who is a young girl, and she falls head over heels for Evgeny when she probably should not. Pushkin wrote this while in exile as well from Russia, I believe, and a lot of it centers around the art and act of creation and poetry. And he comments a lot on poetry, and I actually found, I don't know, a lot of it was very lofty. Ben, stop! Stop dry heaving! A lot of it was just a little bit too lofty, too idealistic, too puffed up for me, but the ending was so affecting, and I think this book actually picks up and improves a lot as it goes along. So it is written in verse, so it can be a faster book to get through if you're interested in just getting a little introduction to Pushkin, and I did underline a lot of really beautiful lines. Between the lines before him printed, his inward eye saw others hinted. On these he concentrated most, and their decipherment engrossed. Quite liked it, and I'm really, really interested in reading more Pushkin. If you like topics of youth, of times and eras long gone, lost forever, never to return, of decadence spoiled and beauty ruined, this one is for you. Next, in December, I read a very interesting book called The Thing in the Snow by Sean Adam. Or is it Adam Sean? One of the two. This is a cool little book that I think is going to annoy a lot of people and has based on the reviews I've read, but this is a satire on the monotonous, meaningless, at times, modern work life and the modern workplace, and like it's kind of a satire on the office setting. This one follows a group of 3 people who are caretakers of this abandoned building called the Northern Institute in the far north, where it is absolutely freezing cold. Like, it's just so freezing that they are told not to go outside because they're gonna get sick, whether they're gonna freeze and die because it's just that cold, or whether they're gonna suffer the effects of snow, sickness, hallucinations, all of that fun stuff that comes with being in the freezing wastelands all of the time. We follow our narrator, and he has taken it upon himself to be the leader of the group. So every week he will read them the tasks that they have to do in order to care for the building in case such time in the future comes when the scientists who at one point occupied the Northern Institute come back to this place. We don't know what they were researching. We don't know what they were doing there. All we know is that it's now abandoned because something happened. However, their tasks are just meaningless, rubbish, garbage stuff. For example, they have to sit in every single chair in the facility in order to measure it for its stability. Things start to go awry when the three of them start to notice something outside the Institute's windows. It's something out there in the snow. They don't really know what it is, but they all become enthralled with it in different ways. Like I said, we don't know what it is either. It's just called The Thing in the Snow. And it really, really occupies so much of their imagination. It disrupts the workflow that is going on. And besides that, weird things start to happen in the Institute, potentially things with space and time. Weird things start going on in their head. The weekend doesn't seem to exist anymore. Just weird stuff is going on. I will say, if you're looking for a book with a satisfying ending, it's not going to be this one. It kind of reminds me of Leave the World Behind in a few senses. I really liked it because it talks a lot about cold, but then I also really like the satire and kind of the dry humor and the absolute monotony that is the modern workplace. Huge office buildings, work culture, and all of that stuff. I'm someone who really enjoys listening to audiobooks where it's very mundane, like it's just a very mundane book of people going about their existence. That is a lot what The Thing in the Snow is as well, because our narrator is so meticulous, so preoccupied, and so obsessed with like detailing everything, listing everything, categorizing everything. So it was very like, I find that stuff very satisfying to listen to in a sense. So I gave this 3.5 stars. It didn't wow me, but it was honestly pretty memorable. Pretty unique in terms of like, I just haven't read something like this before, and I love the winter setting and the snow, so of course it's on here. So that is The Thing in the Snow. Except we have the one that most of you have been asking about, because I haven't gotten to talk about this one yet, and that is Manacled by Senlin Yu. I read Manacled in December. This is like a 1,000 page Hermione fan fiction, but it's not really, it's probably not what you would think it is. Manacled has gotten so much popularity. It is so popular. So many people have read it, and it's honestly pretty good. I didn't give it a rating because I still don't really know how I feel about it. Let me say first of all that it is one of the darkest things that I have literally ever read. It's extremely dark. Manacled is set in a world where Harry Potter is dead. Like, the Resistance lost the war, the Order of the Phoenix lost the war, Voldemort won, and the world is just kind of Voldemort's vision. He's trying to take over all of it, and he's pretty much in the middle of taking over all of Europe when Manacled opens. So it's not a happy place. Almost all of the original characters are dead. Everyone who was on the good side, they are dead, and they die in really horribly violent ways. We follow Hermione as she kind of comes back into consciousness because she has survived the battle and the slaughter and everything, but she has lost so many of her memories of what was going on during the war, and a little bit like a little bit before the war as well. So she was obviously a part of the Order of the Phoenix, but she can't really remember what was going on, other than the fact that she didn't really fight. She was more of a healer, more on the sidelines, and more the person who just took care of everyone when they were wounded and dying, because apparently no one else was really interested in doing that. So as part of Voldemort's like vision of the world, he has decided that he's going to repopulate the wizarding community and try his best to just carry on the lineage and the name of the great wizarding, at one point pureblood houses, the Malfoys included. So Manacled essentially is Harry Potter meets Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. So again, super, super dark, and Hermione gets sent to Malfoy Manor as part of this deal. The book is also split though between a flashback section that does take you back to the past, and you do eventually learn what she's hiding in her brain. Everyone kept posting about like their absolute traumatizing, just so upset reactions to finishing Manacled. I honestly, from what I went through reading the 1,000 pages of this, I thought the ending was going to be so much worse than it actually turned out to be, and I wasn't really that affected by it. I was more so affected by everything that went on within it, because this is obviously a story between Hermione and Draco and what they go through so much more than anything else. I liked it. I didn't love it, and I certainly didn't seem to love it as much as everyone else does, and I'm honestly so gutted about that fact because I invested so much time in reading this 1,000 page fanfiction. I wasn't really wowed by the ending, and I think it does fall off in my opinion. So yeah, do with that what you will. I read it. It was one of the longest books I read this year. Next up, I listened to the audiobook of The Winter Duke by Claire Eliza Bartlett. This was just simply okay as well. I gave this 3 stars, but again, I picked it up because it's winter. Look at the cover. It is so beautiful. This one I just picked up because I try to hoard everything to do with winter and ice, and obviously something called The Winter Duke is coming home with me, and I finally got through it. So this is about a kingdom called Kilma Above, but there is also the reciprocal Kilma Below, which is this underwater shadow kingdom full of like mermaid-ish creatures. And Kilma Above and Kilma Below, they're the only 2 places in this kingdom, in this world, that have magic. But the magic is very sparsely used. People don't really know how it's created. The secret is only given to the Grand Duke of Kilma Above to use and wield it. So we follow Akata, who is one of the daughters of the Grand Duke. She's not really next in line for the throne at all, and that's great because she doesn't want it. She just wants to go off to university and study chemistry and biology, and she also has like a really cool fascination with the underwater kingdom. I thought there was going to be a lot more of a focus on the underwater kingdom. That sounds so cool to me. I love stuff like that, especially when it's like this frozen, spooky, cool place with a bunch of new creatures, new plants. Like, I live for that stuff and I live for that description. Unfortunately, this ended up being so military and so politically focused that I cannot even tell you. Oh my god, this is confusing to me as well because this is young adult, but I think this really would have benefited from being adults and having all of that huge political focus in it, because honestly, I was bored and I'm not the target audience, and I think it just does not match its demographic at all. And I think it should have been aged up, and then it could have been made even more interesting because it could have been more gory. It just could have been better if everyone was an adult and it was written for adults, is what I'm saying. Akata does become the Winter Duke because her family is just absolutely ruthless. They always try to kill each other, try to maim each other, try to outdo one another. There's constant coups. One night when Akata is like just kind of getting ready to go to bed, her maid comes in and she's like, oh my god, shit is going down in the hallway. And it turns out that all of a sudden the prime minister barges into her room and they are like, yo, you are the next duke, your family is all asleep, like we don't know what's going on. They're not technically dead, but they're not waking up. Something has gone wrong. So she learns that there has been a curse placed on her family, and then all of a sudden she inherits everything that her older brother was just about to get. So throne, brother's fiance, all of this stuff, and she's now in a position where she has to not only rule the kingdom but like likely hopefully find out what happened to her family. So honestly, I just found this really dry, really repetitive. The book itself takes place over a period of like 6 days or something, and so much of it is just oh god, it's just so political, but it's political in a way that isn't even interesting because I love politically driven fantasy novels. This one to me was just so uninteresting and very repetitive and very dry, and we literally get to go to the kingdom below like 3 times maybe, and we're not there for very long, and it doesn't actually play that much of a role in the content of the novel. It wasn't awful, it just wasn't really my thing or something that I thought was like outstanding. So that is The Winter Duke. What am I missing? Oh, I know what I'm missing. I'm so sorry we have to end on this note. I also listened to this one. This is Below Zero by Ali Hazelwood. This is a romance novella and it made it onto my worst books of 2023, so you can check that video out if you want to hear me rant about it. But essentially, no, I'm just so put off Ali Hazelwood. This is my second Ali Hazelwood book, and I was willing to give her another chance, but no, she really just writes the same thing over and over again, and it's not even good. So this follows Hannah and Ian. They're both obsessed with Mars. They both want to work at NASA. Ian already does. Ian's a bit older, and it just kind of follows their relationship, which I just did not care about at all. I didn't like Hannah. I thought she was kind of an awful person, and I really just picked this up because it was set on Svalbard. Again, had those snowy vibes. It's below zero, but that didn't even really play a big part in the novella either. So unfortunately, I think I gave this like a really generous 2-star. That is everything that I read in December. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Let me know too if you want me to continue with the wrap-ups or not, because for the past few months I've been doing like a month on, a month off. So let me know what you're feeling, and that is what I will do. Until my next video, that is when I will see you. Thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring this one. Links are in the description, and until then, ciao.